So I'm going to tell you a quick story of when I went to go and clear my mind and a couple of realizations that I had while doing that. But let's be honest, you don't actually care about my situation. You clicked on this video because you're probably a little bit lost too and want to be able to fix your situation. And that's just human nature. So I'll reveal some reflections that I had off of my experiences and how those will actually be able to help you with your life at the end of the video. So just stick around for like a few minutes and hear my story, and I promise you that the payoff will be worth it. I want to take you back to about a week and a half ago where I decided to start a business based around this one idea that I had, and eventually, this was a few days ago that I realized I'm not that proud of what the business actually is, and I can't be able to stand by that business for that long because I don't really care about it that much. As well as having a decent payout from that business would take multiple years to be able to fully be worth my time. I thought of the business like a stepping stone and not a long-term strategy, so I decided that it would be best if I switched to something that I could actually see myself doing and enjoying for a long period of time and sticking with. It was after I had that realization that I thought, oh wait, I actually have a YouTube channel that's doing decently well now, and if I just put like all my time and effort into that, then maybe that can be monetizable and I can treat it like a business and it can start making me some money. So that's when I started putting all of my effort into YouTube over the past 2 days, and probably spent a total of like 10 hours over the last 2 days putting a bunch of effort into the videos that I'm making and just trying to make them as organized as possible and all of that. They were created to be able to get in views and bring in as many subscribers as possible. So after spending 2 days working 10 hours on that, I had a little bit of time at the end of my day yesterday. So I thought, you know what? I'll just go for a little drive just to clear my mind and to get more clarity on life. For the first 15 minutes that I drove, it was just places that I knew pretty well, and I decided just to go down one street that I didn't really know that well for another 15 minutes after that and just continue down it for as long as I could. Then after a fair bit on that road, I finally stumbled into some turns and eventually I ended up at a place called Picnic Island. It was a park that was absolutely beautiful. There were beaches there, there were amazing playgrounds, and it was just at sunset too, absolutely gorgeous atmosphere, and I decided I'd just like go park there and then walk around for a little bit. When I walked there, I found a small little beach at the end of the place where I was walking to, and there's a little trail that went off the end of it, and I decided I'll just go down that a little further too. And I realized the more that I walked down that trail, the more clarity I began to get in my thoughts and in what I like thinking about my thoughts, basically. I eventually reached a dead end there, but I realized I wanted to continue my walk even more, so I headed down to a much longer portion of the beach and then just walked down there for a total of about like probably an hour and a half, just walking there and back twice. The whole entire time I was walking, I was just thinking, what do I truly like want to do, and what are the goals and actions that can get me to that point? I thought about those questions for a while, but there were no expressly clear answers that just popped into my mind like, oh, that's it. It was just a jumble up of ideas that were able to be slightly more organized, but there wasn't like a specific moment there was like, yes, that's exactly what I need to do. I thought about how I want work in life that's actually purposeful. I thought about how I wanted to start working towards becoming a pro boxer, and that's been a thought that's been on my mind for a while. I thought about how I've jumped from business to business with the logical reasoning of, can I see myself doing this long term? And the answer usually being no, because there's not that much leverage in what I'm doing now, and I chose the wrong vehicle. In my case, an example of that was web design. And overall, there were many other ideas that just popped into my mind, but those were the three most that stayed in there at the top of my mind almost the majority of the time. Like a very large majority was just spent thinking about those things. And you'd think after like 2 to 3 hours of straight pondering, I'd have like a clear mind of like, this is exactly what I want. But no, it's definitely somewhat there, but there's a lot of places in my life where I don't have great clarity and don't know where I'm going. But I'm gonna share with you the reflections that I've had on what I've thought about while I was there and how you can actually take my reflections and use those in your own life. So I've been able to come to 3 conclusions from my time pondering for hours and hours on end. So the first conclusion that I came to was that I realized that the reason why my channel got any traction in the first place was not because it was super highly organized videos that were like, I knew it was gonna happen down to the T and it's been like 5 hours doing them. It was just authentically talking to a camera and providing some sort of value for the person who's watching. So I realized I should do much more of that and much less of the like highly organized, like everything's down to a T, like just much less of that. The second conclusion that I came to was that I'm much more driven by status than I previously thought before my walk. It's not like that's my reason for living, but goals like wanting to become a pro boxer, wanting to have purposeful work, wanting to grow on socials, those are very status-oriented goals. But I've realized it's not like the normal status gains of like, hey, I want to say that I'm better than this guy. I've realized it's more of a status of I want to be like, hey, I'm better than I previously was, like before this. So I think for anyone who is feeling like a drive towards like gaining status in those areas, just I've realized for myself, be very careful with it because it is a trap, and a lot of people get pushed into those traps and it does not give them any like actual meaning in their life, and they're just like stuck in this status loophole of wanting more and more and more when it doesn't add to them at all. So just be very, very careful of that. Then lastly, I realized that I don't really know where I'm going, but I'm going to be continuing doing the things that I'm driven to do day after day after day. For me, that's writing, creating YouTube videos, working out, eating right, boxing, hanging out with friends, and learning as much as I can. I believe if I continuously do those things day after day, then I will be able to not have the path fully revealed to me, but I will be going in the right direction, and the more action that I take in the right direction, the more clarity I'll have on the overall picture of what I'm actually going towards, because I don't know where I'm going, but I do know basically the actions that I want to take towards getting to that final place. So if you made it this far, you're probably thinking like, that's all great and stuff, but like, how does this help me? And that's what I'm gonna be touching on now. I believe that most people will benefit greatly from thinking about how the last conclusion that I came to affects your life. Think about what you're naturally driven towards, because like it's just human nature to be driven towards something that you actually care about. So if you're lost right now and don't really know where to go, just continue doing the things that you find fulfillment in and that you're driven to continue doing. And the more you do those, the more clarity that you'll get of where you'll want to actually end up in life. Just do the things that give you energy and give you drive to keep doing them day after day in your life until you're in a situation that was different than before. Then reevaluate the things that you're actually driven towards and do those things. And I think if you keep implementing and working towards the path that you actually care about, it is almost impossible to be fully lost and have no idea where you're going in life, as long as you're taking action towards something that you care about. You may still be lost, but at least you'll be moving in the right direction.